Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is November 18th. Thank you ever so much for finding me and choosing to spend a couple of minutes with me. I appreciate that for sure. And I'd like to just send out a special hello to my new subscribers who have just recently found me and have joined the Soulprint experience. And of course, to my oldest or most seasoned subscribers, I adore each and every one of you. You were the one who, of course, got those numbers growing. And to every single subscriber in between, I am grateful and appreciate every single one of you. So thank you very, very much for that. Okay, so a couple of things I wanted to look at. So I'm just kind of going to be a little bit all over the board today. The first things first. For anybody who saw the pendulum video that I did, the answer to is Pence going to pardon Trump is no. So the first thing I want to do is let's take a quick look at that and see if we can get any details on that in terms of why or why not that might happen. So I think that's going to be the first question I start with. So come on down and let's see what we see. Okay, so we're focusing on Pence as president, and we're focusing on whether or not, if Trump leaves office early, which I think most of us agree is going to happen, is he going to be pardoned for his sins? All right. So let's look at, how do we want to do this? Let's look at Pence, Trump, pardon. Pence, Trump, pardon. Pence, Trump, pardon. It was an interesting cut. I'm going to recut it. That cut just didn't feel right. Let's try again. Pence, Trump, pardon. Pence, Trump, pardon. Pence, Trump, pardon. So if Trump, or when Trump leaves office, should that happen before an election takes place, Pence would hold out that opportunity to become president as his greatest achievement, as more his dream in life, his grandest wish. And he will fail to understand that he is a mediocre second choice after an absolute disaster. So, because in his head, he's going to twist that around to sort of, it was destined to happen and he's been chosen and he's going to carry on the whatever. Okay. So he's sort of a little delusional about what that will actually look like. What he's not kind of realizing that, in fact, it is not the ultimate achievement of a lifetime. You are going to, in fact, discover that there is not going to be support for you. You are going to be an absolute lame duck president, and you're going to be faced with some difficult choices, and those choices have to do with kind of doing what you actually think might be right. If he actually, I'm not saying he doesn't have a moral compass. He does. It's just very, very to the right. It's very conservative, very, very traditional. And what might be good for the country. So and even with the pardon, it's going to be a difficult decision, I think, for him, because on the one hand, he is going to want to keep, it's not going to be for Trump's benefit. The pardon will not be for Trump's benefit. The pardon will be to try to hang on to that base of voters who, are going to be sort of devastated to see Trump leave office, and to try to keep them sort of energized and excited, because what will happen is their campaign's going to end up being something like, the road to greatness was interrupted, and so let us vote in the people who will keep this dream alive and going forward. And the dream, of course, being no birth control, no access to mental health, no access to health care. The list goes on. Okay, so it's very murky what's actually going to take place there. So it's actually interesting to me that the pendulum was so decisive with the whole no thing. Pence is going to have a lot of things that he himself wants to keep covered up. I know that a lot of people say Pence is not going to go into office. He's going to be impeached along with Trump. I don't think that's going to happen. It is possible that somewhere between now and the election, a lot of issues come up with Pence. But at some point, there's just going to be a general pullback and saying, we can get him after he is voted out of office, but we're not going to get him while he is in office. That really would be a bridge too far. That would be far too divisive. So Pence has a lot of things that he's going to try to juggle should this actually come out the way I'm sort of seeing it. But ultimately, he's going to have to do, or he will do, that which he is advised. That which he is told by others is the right calculation to make. So that's all I have. It's going to be a burden for him. There's going to be balancing of dark money, secret issues, things they're trying to keep hidden. And in some ways, the offers being made to Pence are things that he's not actually going to want to do or take charge of or be responsible for. And that, I'm not talking about Trump there. I'm talking about just general actual leadership, because he doesn't have that skill set. So I don't think that I don't know that I got a whole lot more clarity on that. But certainly the pendulum was fairly clear, and has consistently been clear, that Pence will not pardon him. So we'll see if that energy continues to flow forward, because honestly, at this point in time, I think if something were to happen right now, Pence would. So obviously there's going to be some sort of an energy shift that goes on between now and whenever it is Pence takes over the presidency, if he does. Okay. So, I hear Trump, a couple things. I hear one, he has made a statement that he will strongly consider testifying on the impeachment trial. Now, we know that is just a load of crap, okay? It is his stalling tactic. We have been watching this kind of nonsense from him for 3 years. He was going to strongly consider releasing documents. He was going to, he was going to strongly consider gun control. Let's look at that for a second. He was also going to strongly consider talking to Pence, talking to Mueller. So his strongly considers don't add up to a bag of dust. So that's not happening. And in some ways, I wish the television people would stop getting and spending actual time discussing this, because there's nothing to discuss, because he's not going to do it. I also heard that there was sort of something going on with Trump's annual physical. So Apparently it was just unusual the way things came together. Part of it was done, I gather, over the weekend, but then another part of it, he says, is not going to be done until the new year. So that's kind of interesting. You know, is he actually sick? Yeah, he probably is. I mean, he's got a lot of stress. He's delusional. You know, so it's very possible that things are just not working quite right in his body. But this is going to be swept under the rug and kept quiet because they recognize that any sign of ill health is going to weaken him. I don't know how much weaker he could get, but they think it will. And so that's going to be interesting. Is it possible that, I don't know that this is laying the groundwork for a made up illness that he uses as the reason that he has to leave office. But if he ends up leaving office and using that sort of health issue, it's not going to be, how can I say this? I think in order to make that story come together, they're going to exaggerate whatever may or may not be wrong and going on with him. They're going to amplify it so it seems much more dire and much more dramatic. Okay, let's take a quick look-see on Trump. How's Trump doing? How's Trump doing? How's Trump doing? Okay. All right. There's definitely a concern that justice is riding towards him. He's incredibly defensive, and he continues to be incredibly defensive. The stuff that is getting thrown out now is so ridiculous in terms of defense that there's sort of like no intelligence, to it. They keep trying to create a balance. You know, the White House keeps trying to sort of create this story where they can at least even the scales a little bit, try to keep things level, try to keep him calm. And, you know, that doesn't work. They've never been successful at it. And the reason they're not successful at it is because he is an uncontrollable child. And frankly, there is nobody strong enough or forceful enough or who will, you know, tell him the reality enough to sort of rein him in. So what you have is, you know, a man who literally is attacking people as they are testifying. Apparently this morning, I guess, he went after, I don't know her name, but it's the woman from Pence's office. And, you know, there are other people that are scheduled to testify. And literally his excuse is, well, I don't know them. I don't even know who these people are. And the thing that's so funny about that is, does Trump actually think that as president of this huge country and this huge government organization, that he should know every single solitary person who works in government? And if he doesn't know every single solitary person, they are invalid because he doesn't know them. I mean, it's ridiculous, the stuff that is getting tossed out there. And he's just going to continue to make it worse for himself. He doesn't seem to have the capacity to know when he should be still. And so things are, you know, piling up against him, and he becomes more stressed. He certainly becomes more aggressive, and he's going to continue becoming more aggressive. This defensive posture is going to become amplified. Expect a lot more crazy this week, as you've got those, I think it's 8 witnesses that they're expecting to get through between, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So there's going to be a lot of information coming out, and I suspect a lot of it is going to be corroborating, right? So things we've already heard, and this person's going to come in and say, I heard that too, or I saw that too, or that is not the way it should be. Don't be surprised if there's a couple more little bombshells that come out. But his behavior is going to become more and more erratic and delusional. He just, he's literally not able to see the writing on the wall. And he has that small core group of people around him who are frankly giving him either no advice or incredibly bad advice. And, you know, there's just going to be one issue after another after another. Yeah. You know, it's interesting because he's really getting some lovely positive cards, except the energy and the connotation that I'm reading into them is not actually quite so positive. There's information coming to him. There are items in the Democratic toolbox that are still going to throw him and the White House into an actual spin. And again, they can't control him, so he just does what he does. And he doesn't seem to really concern himself with how bad he looks, how bad he makes anybody else look. He's just not there. You know, he's just also recently suffered those two kind of stinging losses in two, I think it was governor races, where he endorsed and that candidate did not win. So, you know, and I know everybody's saying Kentucky's sort of, you know, different because they really hated the governor that was in. The point is, just mentally, for Trump to again keep losing after he goes out there and puts it on the line and all but begs for people to vote for him, just to his ego, it is a, you know, a bit of a hit. All right, let's take a look at Stone. I've got a lot of questions about whether or not Trump is going to pardon Stone. And as of right now, I don't feel it. And I don't know if that's because by time Trump, you know, by time the sentence is passed down and et cetera, Trump may have more on his plate than dealing with, you know, Stone and his issues. So let's check this out. Trump, Stone, pardon. Trump, Stone, pardon. Trump, Stone, pardon. I mean, the other thing that needs to be remembered, you know, everybody gets all panicky about Trump pardoning people. And, but he hasn't pardoned Manafort. Okay, Cohen, that might have been a little bit dicey because he got really angry with him. But, you know, Manafort has been a good little soldier. Mike Flynn has been a good little soldier. Roger Stone has been a good little soldier. And I just somehow don't see those pardons coming to pass. Whether it is because he, as I said, he literally has so much on his plate that he just cannot go down that road, whether he is sort of strongly / really forcibly told that that is just not going to happen. I'm not quite sure. I don't have clarity on that, but it really doesn't feel like he's actually going to be able to do what he wants to do. And it's very possible that as this starts to unfold, he's going to be far more concerned about keeping his own butt out of a sling and not being quite so worried about other people and their butts. So I don't see it. I don't know that Stone is going to get an unreasonably harsh sentence. In fact, I almost tend to feel it might be in the other direction. where he might actually get a little bit less maybe than people hope, or certainly at the lower end of the sentencing guidelines. So, but yeah, so overall, let's just see this. What does Doan's future look like? Okay, so not good. Not good. You know, you've got being left out in the cold. You've got being brokenhearted. You've got an abundance of emotion, but this is not striking me as love and joy. This is striking me as fear and despair. He's going to be restricted. And I think that he will continue to believe his own stories. You know, I don't get the feeling that he's likely to flip and start talking. He has too high of a loyalty factor in him, but definitely I also exactly don't see him somehow being, you know, forgiven. So we'll see how that pans out. All right. And the last thing I wanted to just take a quick little look at is how the man from Russia feels about everything that's going on in the United States right now, and how he feels about, you know, his role in it. So, let's look at Putin's thoughts about the states. Putin's thoughts about the states. Putin's thoughts about the states. It's all about the money. Oh, wow. I don't even know if this could be any more clear. Putin literally desires and sees destroying America and causing the ending and the destruction of democracy, and systematically, globally, as his goal. It is going to be his crowning achievement. It is the victory that he wants. Because you see, the more dysfunctional other countries look, the more he can make his country look at like it's the correct way to do things. You know, democracy doesn't work. And so he is getting enough messaging, enough good news, enough that supports his agenda, literally to the point where he has an overabundance of blessings coming to him. He really is looking for, you know, kind of global domination. I mean, he really is. I don't believe that that is going to be successful, but it's not going to be instantly made clear. Like, there is so much work, repair work that needs to be done, not only in the United States, but in other countries where that Russian interference sort of escalated faster than I think governments were actually expecting to have to deal with. Okay. But so he's going to be able to ride this wave of success for a while. But ultimately, I don't see that it's going to work for him. And I maintain that I definitely see dramatic changes for Putin or with Putin in about, within sort of 3 years. But for right now, he could not be absolutely more delighted that his little orange-faced, blonde-haired puppet is doing it's like his cup overflows, okay? He cannot believe the good fortune he has received as a result of Trump and Trump's thoughts and feelings. And literally, Putin sees this going forward for a good long while. And he also is going to be in for a bit of a surprise. But the bottom line is that he played Trump perfectly. And it's not like he didn't know that Trump was sort of as malleable and frankly as without any original thoughts and no real understanding of how the world works. He knew that, but in some ways even he has been astounded by how unbelievably corrupt the United States can be made. You know, and make no mistake, it's not like the United States was lily white before this. In fact, they weren't. But again, this thing has just exceeded his expectations because they're playing right into his hand. You know, they're doing that whole thing where Putin's getting every little single thing he wants, and Trump is destroying everything that Americans hold dear. And yeah, so he's pleased. The good man from Russia, he is thrilled. Trump is going to become more erratic and more out of control. He will be attacking people, and he's going to keep up with this. I don't know them, so therefore whatever they say just isn't valid. Hello? You know, that's like saying an eyewitness to a car accident, for example, doesn't have anything valid to contribute because the driver didn't know them personally. It boggles the mind. And as far as Pence goes, I feel like a lot of that energy is still in flux, but as of right now, it looks that were he to ascend to president, he would not be issuing a pardon. And I don't at this point have any clarity of why that is or isn't. And as for Mr. Stone, he should have enjoyed the kindness, the abundance, the power, the adulation of the life that he has lived up to now, because that is coming to a rather abrupt end. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have found this insightful, helpful, entertaining. Please continue to like and subscribe and comment. They mean so much to me, and the comments are brilliant. And quick, I don't know what the status is, but right before I sat down to film this, there was news about a shooting in a Walmart in Oklahoma. Energy, love, thoughts, prayers out in that direction, please. And in particular, extra protection around the first responders and any who have been injured. So thank you very, very much. Until next time, take care. Be well. Bye-bye.